Welcome to Knicksfandom. This is an independent New York Knicks fan-based podcast, which was created by fans for fans. The show is hosted by Blackwell, Danny, and Flau. They'll discuss the issues surrounding the Knicks, the NBA, and various other sports-related topics. Join us. It's going to be a heck of a ride.
Who you going to scrimmage like you the champion? You might win some, but you just lost one. But not today, listeners, because we got a riveting new episode for you. This is episode 25 of our podcast known as Knicksfandom. As always, I'm your host, Blackwell. I hope all our listeners out there are doing great. I'm pleased to be joined by my fellow co-host, Danny D. How are things going, Danny D?
I'm good, LA. How's everything going with you, man?
I'm good. How about you, Flo? I'm also joined by my fellow co-host. How you been, Flo?
LA, I'm great, man. How you doing today?
I'm all right, man. Ready for the NBA Finals, man. We got some great topics going on for y'all today. And we're going to start with the NBA Finals between the Golden State Warriors and the reigning world champion Cleveland Cavaliers. The game is scheduled to take place on Thursday, June 1st, 2017 at 9 p.m. Eastern Conference time. Odd Shocks had the opening lines of the Cleveland Cavaliers at plus 260 and the Golden State Warriors at negative 320. And at last report, had the Warriors as 2-1 favorites over the Cavaliers in regards to winning the NBA championship. This is the first time in NBA history that two teams will meet 3 consecutive years for the NBA championship title. And we're going to give you a full breakdown during this podcast. We also discuss the strengths and the weaknesses for each team. Lastly, we will each give our thoughts about which team we think will come out on top and will become the eventual champs. Moreover, we also discuss some of the issues surrounding the Knicks overall. This is a Knicksfandom podcast. We realize that. And we're going to discuss some other NBA topics in general. But let's get it started, guys. We finally arrived. And even Rip Van Winkle could have guessed. We could get to this point, Warriors versus Cavs. I mean, I like how we got here with the Kevin Durant deal and everything of that nature. But we're here. I think it's going to be a great and classic series overall. But let's give our thoughts regarding the upcoming series. Starting with you, Flo. What you think about it?
This is finally, we get to see two of the best teams in basketball. The Cavs, the Warriors. The Cavs are the defending champions. I'm excited. Finally, we get to see some great basketball.
Definitely. What you think about Danny D? How you feel about this series coming up?
And man, it's the triple saga, man. It's like the Lord of the Rings. They back at it one more time again. And you got the best of the best. You know, they got the best of the best because they got all the players that are good on all the good teams. So eventually you got the East and West, and hopefully we can have a good series and see what's going on. Very true. You know, I'm excited about it. I wasn't that excited about the regular season. As you spoke, Danny D, it's definitely why, because it's it's not parity like you would like on some level. So this is two juggernaut teams. They finally here, so we're going to see who's the best of the best. But, you know, starting with you, Danny D, who you think is the most pressure on them going into the series, plays-wise? The most pressure, I think, right now is going on Kevin Durant. And I don't care if people say it might be on LeBron. I'm saying, in my opinion, it has to be Kevin Durant. Because you went to a team that already made it to the finals last year. They had the best record last year. And if they don't win, it's basically because of you. What was the need for you? You went on a team with 2 MVPs and you still can't get a chip? Come on, KD. You got to come better than that, son.
Very true. And the best record overall in the whole NBA history-wise. So, you know how that is. And the team that's beat them. So that's even worse in my eyes. What you think about it, Flo? Thanks, D. What do you think about that, Flo? Who you think got the most pressure going on them going to this series?
LA, once again, great minds think alike. Kevin Durant, the bullseye target is on his back. He's the guy who left OKC, especially a team where he had a 3-1 series lead against a team that he joined. And ended up losing, 3 straight. When came July, he decided to join the team that he lost to in 7 games. All the pressure in the world is on Kevin Durant. He's, trying to get that ring. He's not concerned about his legacy, staying in one team, et cetera, et cetera. All he cares about is trying to make sure that he retires with at least 1 ring. That's all he cares about right now.
Very true. Got to agree with y'all. We're going to make a trifecta. I'm also saying Kevin Durant. Because basically, Cavs are playing with house money to me right now. They won. They're the reigning champs. So they beat them last year. And also, you have to look at it. Even if LeBron loses,
LeBron James.
So even if he loses, they still really have to look at it and say, look what it took to beat me. It took 2 MVPs on one team. So, like you said, everything is in KD. This is why he came here. He's teamed up with Steph Curry, another MVP. So all the pressure is definitely on them in my eyes. That's why I have to look at it. But, going into that, we also have to think about overall, just looking at starting lineups, who you think has the edge going into it, Cavs and Warriors, starting with you, Flo, this time?
I'm going to go with Cleveland for the time being. I'm looking to see if Golden State removes a certain play out their lineup. They started Patrick McGraw, so I'm hoping they'll remove him, but I still think the edge goes to Cleveland right now in the starting lineup.
Okay. Thank you, Flo. How about you, Danny D? What you think starting lineup? Who you giving the edge to right now?
Starting lineup, I have to go with the Warriors because with KD, if Klay Thompson get hot and Stephen Curry, it's instant offense. It's going to be hard to slow down with those guys starting. I'm going with the Warriors.
I hear you. I'm going to be a little different this time. I think it's going to go with the Cavs because I'm looking at the Cavs and basically all their points and stuff is coming from their starting lineup. They're basically playing them a lot of minutes. And look at it, the big three is basically playing better than the big three from the Warriors. Because right now, Thompson is really struggling. He's averaging like only 14 points after doing, I think, 21 points per game in the regular season. And also, if you look at Kyrie is doing his thing, and Kevin Love is playing really well right now. So looking at Love and LeBron, as well as Kyrie and Thompson, I think they got the edge right now starting lineup-wise. How about the bench? What you think about that? Starting with you this time, Danny D.
I might have to go with the Cavaliers with the bench, according to how they do the guard play. If you still have Iman, Richard Jefferson, Shannon Fry, Kyle Korver, Derek Williams. Yeah, I'm going with the Cavs with that one. Off the bench.
Okay, I hear you. How about you, Flo? Thank you, D.
I'm going to go in the opposite direction. I'm going to go with Golden State. I like Sean Livingston, David West, JaVale McGee, Matt Barnes, Andre Iguodala. So I'm going to go with Golden State.
Okay, thank you. I hear that. I got to go with you this time, Flo. I'm going Golden State, too. I think Livingston, Iguodala, because Iguodala really, to me, is like a starter a lot of times. And Jaja, you never know you need to hurt somebody, drop that big foot on Hulk Hogan style. So you never know what you're doing. That's what I'm looking for. But it's going to be a battle. But also Kyle Korver, I think he's going to be a big plus for the Cavs overall. And as well as Deron Williams, if he stays healthy, I know he's having a few issues down the road too. And Fries also is kind of a question mark. You never know. He could drop a couple threes or he could just totally disappear. And the other guy I think we already talked about was like Richard Jefferson. He played really well last year in the finals. I'm expecting him to do as well this time too. So it's going to be something to see right there. I think, but I'm still giving the edge to Golden State Warriors looking at that. And then overall just coaching matchup. What do y'all think about that? Looking at it overall. Starting with you, Flo.
Hate to say this, but I'm going to go with Coach Lou in Cleveland. Guys, I'm a big fan of Mike Brown. Mike Brown is really more of a defensive coach. As with Tyronn Lue, he makes a lot of in-game adjustments. I have a lot of respect for Tyronn Lue. Believe it or not, guys, if you guys are aware of, he's a Phil Jackson disciple, believe it or not.
Hey, don't hold that against him, man. Don't hold that against him.
But I'm gonna go with Coach Lue in Cleveland.
Okay, I hear you. I'm shocked, man. I thought you were gonna go for your boy. All right, that's cool. How about you, Dan D? Thanks, Flo.
The only reason it should be Tyronn, but I'm going with the Warriors because since the Warriors got like 9 coach, you got Mike Brown, you got Steve Kerr coming in at halftime giving inspiration speeches like that. Since they got 2 coaches, that's why I'm going with the Warriors.
I hear you. I'm gonna agree with you, Danny D, this time. I think he's gonna pull that Willis Reed for coaching and try to come in there if they start struggling and come out there in the bench. I like Paul Pierce. We never know. But like you said, they got a lot of coaches and a lot of vets. If Kerr was there really healthy, you do wish him the best though, or Joe Tsai. I think he would definitely be an edge for them overall. I think he's a better coach than me from both sides. And I just think they're a little more confident when he's out there a lot of times. So if they had Lou Walton, I think it'd be a big plus too from right now too. I think they're missing that a little bit, But also, I just want to say, what do y'all think about overall prediction, the winner of overall finals? Starting with you, Dan D. Who you picking?
Right now, I got the Cavs. I think the Cavs might pull it out. The 7-game series. Ooh. I got the Cavs. It's gonna be close, but I got the Cavs taking it.
All right, go a little deeper. Any particular reasons?
I just think it's the heart of a champion. I seen LeBron down 3-1. We thought it was over 3-1. He came back and shocked the world down 3-1. So I can't write the champion out. You know what I'm saying? To be the man, you got to beat the man. And right now, he the champ.
Woo! I hear you. Rudy Tomjanovich, I hear you. Don't want to miss the heart of the champion, but Warriors champs too, you know. They got their title
That's
too.
true, but not defending champions, though.
Very true, very true. All right. And what about the Warriors? Any particular reason why you think they're going to edge them out? Like something you see with the Warriors?
The only worry is sometimes they get scared in scary moments. And same thing, if KD can go to the hole and stuff like that, they can win it. But if it's the old KD that gets scared and get punked out, they ain't going to have no chance. Because all them jump shots don't mean nothing when it's prime time. This is prime time moment right now. I saw what happened when you went with OKC and with them young boys and went out there and he got scared, didn't want to play. This is real deal right now. Ain't no more games after this. This is for the chip.
That's it. That's true. History's on the line right here, folks. Thank you, D. What about you, Flo? What you think about? Who you picking? And then how many games?
All right, LA, I'm going to go with Golden State in 7 games.
Okay. All right. What's the reasons?
Well, I have a breakdown on 9 different things. In order for Cleveland to have a chance of winning the series, I think LeBron has to be aggressive. I think it's important for LeBron to take at least 30, 31 shots. All right, that's for in order for Cleveland to win. Transition offense, I think it's important for Cleveland to actually try to run on Golden State. I know Golden State loves to run and hit the transition 3, but I think with Cleveland, they're going to have to try to catch Golden State off guard by running the ball more. For Cleveland also, they gotta play more pick and roll with Kyrie and LeBron. That's very important. Now, also, if Cleveland's gonna have to force Draymond Green and Andre Iguodala to shoot the ball more, the reason why I'm saying that Andre Iguodala is shooting 3 for 27 in the playoffs from the 3-point line. Draymond Green also, not really known as a good shooter, even though he shot the ball lights out in Game 7 of last year's NBA Finals. I still would rather force him to shoot the ball as opposed to Stephen Curry. Cleveland to really have a chance, also, they're going to have to take the ball out of Curry's hand, maybe with some double teams, maybe bump him off a little bit, hit him a couple times every time when he's driving, maybe blitz him a little bit, do a lot of switching, throw different defenders at Curry.
I hear you. Go ahead.
So, also, if Golden State really, I really believe that they can win this series, I think that they need to have Channing Frye and Kyle Korver on the floor. The reason why they're poor defenders. I know for Cleveland, they want these guys to shoot the ball, knock the ball, shoot the ball very well from 3, which both players are capable of doing. But keep in mind, they're poor defenders. So even though they might shoot the ball very well, I think Golden State can score on both of these guys and put these guys in foul trouble. So that's going to help. Definitely is going to help Golden State. Also, KD, he's got to get busy in this series. Another thing, another X factor in my opinion, JaVale McGee, averaging 11 minutes in the playoffs. I think it's very important when he's in the game. He's got to definitely disrupt Cleveland with his athleticism, with his length. He's going to have to be able to roll to the rim, get some lob passes, catch some lob passes, get some easy dunks. Also, he's got to keep running, especially on their transition offense. He's going to have to grab some boards. I think if Cleveland has a shot, if McGee's in the game, I think they're going to have to force him to become a pick-and-roll defender. He's not really good, in defending the pick and roll. Overall, I'm going to go with Golden State again in 7 games.
Okay. Thank you, Flo. Very thorough. Appreciate it. For myself, I went back and forth with this, man. It's like a toss-up. I definitely see where you could pick Golden State, where you pick Cleveland. It's like they polar opposites. It's like where they're weak at, the other team is strong at. So I definitely understood that. And I got them going 7 games, but I'm going to go to old Biggie line, man. To me, the Warriors are just like Biggie says, soft like a Twinkie, playing the villain, prepared for this Cavs killing. That's going to be it, man. I think they're too big in size. They're going to be too strong. And I think they're going to pose that. They're going to slow the game down. We saw a lot last year with Curry. If his shot's not going down, he's not a great defender. His assist is okay, but it's like if he doesn't score from outside, he's not going to break your way down because he's not that big. He's not that tall. He's not that physical. So if that jumper's not working, they're going to struggle. Same thing with KD. You're going against LeBron a lot of times. They're going to put him on him. LeBron usually, punishes KD a lot of times physically. And if you look at the overall record when they play against each other, regular season, KD is 14-4 against in losses. LeBron has 14 wins to his 4, and in playoffs it's 4-1. So to me, I just honestly feel like LeBron is KD's kryptonite. And you came to Golden State, like Danny D said earlier, to try to beat basically LeBron and beat the Warriors. So to me, you don't really have that much faith in yourself. Because that was the case where I come here and do all this. So in the back of my mind, I think LeBron feels like he has them and like that on that level. And also, you just think about it, just rebounding wise, I think that's going to be huge for this team. And just looking at their front court, the way they're dominating playoff wise, Cleveland right now has the top 3 rebounders, 10.2 with Kevin Love, 9.4 with Tristan Thompson, and 8.0 rebounds with LeBron. Golden State top rebounds, 8.7 with Draymond Green, 7.7 with Durant, and 5.6 with Curry. That ain't going to work with them, man. If they slow this game down, they're going to punish them. Also, Kyrie's going to be holding a lot of times going against Thompson, who's also struggling, like we said, 22.3 points in regular season, only 14.4. So I think back and forth, that's really going to cause them to struggle dealing with that. Just energy-wise, them guys are not going to really get no rest. I know a lot of times it's going to be Thompson holding Kyrie, but sometimes Steph is going to get caught on him. So it's going to make him work the same way you saw last year. I know Steph was hurt, so you got to put that in the equation. But I still feel like it's going to go 7 games. I feel like they're going to edge him out at the end. That's what I'm looking at right now, overall. And just looking at this series, anything else y'all want to talk about this series just in general that we haven't really gone through or we haven't really spoke about as of yet? Anybody could jump in right now.
LA, I want to add one more thing, which I failed to mention.
Yes, sir.
I didn't realize, and it just dawned on me. You have student versus mentor, Deron Williams versus Sean Livingston. Remember, Sean Livingston was Deron Williams' backup with the Brooklyn Nets.
I recall.
I didn't realize that. Yeah. Also, too, which I failed to mention, Sean Livingston is really a 2-point shooter. If you're the Cavs, maybe you want to force him to shoot the 3 because he's comfortable going to the basket, taking shots within 10 to 15 feet, but he's not known for his 3-point shooting. So maybe if you're the Cavs, for them to have a chance, you leave him open, also leave Iguodala open since he's struggling, also leave Draymond Green open.
No, I hear you. I think they're definitely going to do that. I think they're going to slow the game down, try to make it play half court too. Only thing with Golden State you got to remember, though, is that's a team that's never out of a game. You don't see them come back down 23 against Spurs. With them 3-point shooters, that's the one thing you have to worry about with Cleveland. And also, they don't do good with prosperity. LeBron's not really a closer. They really haven't shown that killer instinct a lot of times. So that's why I feel it's going to go 7. They're going to hang around. But the biggest thing, too, I think when you have 2 teams that's so evenly matched, a lot of times the more physical team will win. Not all the time, but a lot of times. I just thought back to like the Pistons when they played the Lakers back with Isaiah in the bad boy days. You also had when they played against Kobe and them. I think, back then those Pistons was very physical, too, with Ben Wallace and company. Then you had the Mavs and the Heat. You also had a guy with Tyson Chandler, Jason Kidd. Those guys kind of did the same thing against them. Although it was like their first year, they really got it together. So, but, I think it's going to be a good series. It's going to go back and forth. Anything else you want to add there, Danny D?
Yes, like you said before, it's time to play. It's going to be more physical stuff like that because that's it. Ain't no more games after this. This is what you played all season for. That's it. 4 games, and we're going to see what happens.
Yeah. Well, stay tuned, folks. We'll be talking about it on Knicks Fandom. So, hope y'all enjoyed that. We gave you a thorough, in-depth look at the NBA Finals upcoming. So, hope y'all enjoy it. As always, thank you, fella, for your in-depth assessments. I appreciate it. And we're going to jump right into our next segment for our New York Knicks Weekly Knicks Roundup. Okay, we're back, folks. Flo, we spoke earlier and you informed me that you had 2 topics you want to discuss on the show regarding our New York Knicks.
LA, definitely. In regards to the Knicks, I mentioned this to you guys early in the week. Phil Jackson, the $60 million intern of the New York Knicks, he decided not to renew the contract of Joshua Longstaff, who is the 34-year-old assistant coach of the Knicks that was brought in from OKC with Derek Fisher. Unfortunately, he's no longer with the Knicks. People fail to realize that he's also Porzingis' shooting coach and also Kevin Durant's shooting coach when they were at OKC together. Also, he is the player development coach and video coordinator in OKC. But with the Knicks, he was more into player development. He developed 4 players that are currently with the Knicks or no longer with the Knicks. Ron Baker, shooting guard. Billy Hernangomez, center. Lance Thomas, the backup small forward. And former Knick backup point guard / shooting guard, Langston Galloway. Guys, I want to know what's your take on this.
Very interesting. Thank you, Flo. I didn't know about him being with Kevin Durant. That was something I didn't know until you informed me about that. But start with Danny. What did you, Danny D? What you think about that?
Like I said, but they didn't give any reason why, right?
Not in particular that I heard of. But you go ahead, Flo.
No, there was really no specific reason why. There are rumors are circulating that by Phil doing this, allowing him to leave, it will open up the door for former Knick player Pablo Prigioni that we spoke about in last week's podcast, episode 23, about becoming, an assistant coach with the Knicks. That's the rumor that's circulating all over.
Yeah, because like I was reading before, they said that he had no problems. They said he was a hard worker. He got along with everybody. And in the future, he wants to become a head coach. To me, it sounds like it's more personal than, professional reasons, because they say he's a good guy. He travels with the team and he helps the youth and get better. So to me, it's very, very foolish on Phil. That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I got to agree with you, Danny D. I didn't see no real reasons, especially since one of the few dudes that really was like a mentor to Porzingis. Although they said the other guy behind him also was pretty good with Porzingis as well. But like, why, make this guy comfort level be less than what it has to be? No real reason for that in my eyes. Also, you got more than one assistant. Look at Golden State. You got Porzingis. You could have had Pablo, and you could have had him on the team. So I don't see what the big deal was. Was like you was paying him a ton of money that I know of. So this is just Phil being Phil, man. I'm waiting for 2 years. That's it. I'm just hoping we don't do no more damage. Leave in 2 years. Don't resign. Go retire, Florida, whatever you want to do, man. I'm just waiting it out right at this point. What you want to say about that, Flo? You want anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, I'm very disappointed in Phil making this decision. I still think he should have kept him, but maybe the only reason I can think of why he decided not to renew the contract is because when he thinks of Joshua Longstaff, he's probably thinking of Derek Fisher. So maybe anybody who's associated with Fisher, he wants to get rid of him. That's the only reason I can think of. And if that's the case, like both of you gentlemen mentioned, then that becomes personal.
That's true. I could definitely see where you're coming from. And thank you with that topic, Flo. What's the other topic you have regarding the Knicks for our weekly Knicks Roundup?
The other topic in regards to the Knicks, on Thursday that just passed, the Knicks attended a workout of Kentucky guard Malik Monk. I want you guys to know what's your take about this.
I saw that as well. I thought about it. It's like, I know it's still early, this thing about draft stuff. And we're going to have an in-depth look at that on Knicks-Fandom. Don't worry about that, listeners. But to me, he's just an undersized two-guard right now. I mean, he's pretty good. I like his shooting stroke. But he's not the first person I really want for that pick. I mean, it depends on if he drops. I think he's going to be going anyway by that time, though. But I have to see what goes on. There's a couple other guys I'm looking at ahead of him. I like Isaac. I think he's going to be a pretty good player. Also, look at Dennis Smith. A lot of players like that. So I have to really see. It's a little early. I'm trying to see what's going to happen wise, and if any trades, anything happen that change the order of it. So, what do you think about Danny D?
Yeah, nothing against Malik Monk. He's a great player, but just not a good fit for the Knicks right now. Even though it's like very redundant to say that because we need all the players we can get. But right now, we just need somebody that's going to be a guard to actually lead the team. And Malik Monk is undersized, but he's more like a shooting guard. We need a guard or another big man that's going to really help this team out.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking. I look more like a Lou Williams type. Maybe might be a little better than that, but I don't know if he's going to start. If he does, then you have another issue with undersized guard in the backcourt, and we don't really have that big man that really is going to stop everything yet up front. So that's the reason why I just said that right now. What you think about it, Flo, overall? Thanks, D.
I mean, at least Phil is doing his due diligence, so there's nothing wrong with that. He's got to make sure he, scout some players in person. It was in New York City, which helps Phil because he doesn't have to travel. because you remember he missed the opportunity to scout the Aaron Fox and Lonzo Ball, in the NCAA tournament. So this time there's no excuses with Phil this time. So.
Yeah, I hear you. Also, saw article regarding that Clarence Gaines was looking at a lot of these players. He's like a guy that was under Jerry Krause back in the day, and the son of Big House Gaines too. So he's a guy they call him a little eccentric. We actually put a Twitter thing on our post, so check out the Knicks fan Twitter account. We actually put a post in an article, really in depth article on a post about him, saying he's a little eccentric, but he really knows his stuff. So I'm hoping these type of guys are really listening, whispering in Phil's ear come on draft time. That's the thing I'm looking at right now. The Knicks definitely hit a home run with this one. But thank you very much for that, Flo. Appreciate that. I don't have anything else right now for Weekly Knicks Roundup, so we're just going to jump right into NBA sports, news, and reviews. Okay, we back. Thank you, Flo. We're going to start with you regarding this NBA sport news. You got anything for us right now?
LA, I got actually a couple things. I want to talk about the Philadelphia 76ers, one, and then I want to talk about a player that you mentioned in regards to a specific team.
Yes, sir. Go right ahead.
According to Keith Pomfrey of www.philly.com, the Philadelphia 76ers are worth $800 million. In 2011, Josh Harris, David Blitzer, and investors bought the team for $200 million. Many people believe the team's value will be worth more once the number one pick of the 2016 NBA draft, Ben Simmons of LSU, plays a game. So my question to both of you gentlemen is, what do you think about the Philadelphia Sixers value in terms of how much they're worth right now currently? And do you believe also that they'll be worth more once Simmons plays a game?
Thank you, Flo. I think they'll definitely be worth more once he starts playing, especially if he plays well. No doubt about that. That seems like a high number, though. I don't know if it's inflated a little bit, but you started off, Danny D. What you think?
I think that's about the number because I don't know how much the Knicks are worth right now. I don't know the exact amount because we're not even making the playoffs. So, the Mecca. So I think that's the right number. And also when Ben comes, because once you get a young core and stuff like that, you start winning, you can start improving those ticket prices. Ticket prices go up. And what if they make the playoffs? So the revenue is going to keep on going in. Young team, they make the playoffs. I agree.
Yeah, but the thing with the Knicks, they're the number one. Last time I checked before, I think they were like $3 billion, something like that. $3
billion, something like that. Yeah.
So, plus you got MSG, you got the Mecca. They got a lot of history there. So, But Philly, that's good for them. Definitely, they need all the help they can get as well, just like the Knicks. They've been struggling for a while, but as they say, believe in the process. So we'll see what happens with that. What you think about it, Flo?
I was a little bit surprised that they're worth $800 million already, especially for a team that hasn't made the playoffs in years. So I'm a little bit surprised by that they're worth that high. But I definitely believe they'll be worth way more once Ben Simmons plays a game. If I recall correctly, I believe that their season ticket package already has sold out already. So the fans are already anticipating, the arrival of Ben Simmons and a healthy Joel Embiid, and hopefully a good talented player. If they keep the pick where they're picking third currently, I think I believe the fan base really believes that this team could at least get to 500 this year and maybe make the playoffs as an 8th seed.
Oh, I hear you. Time will tell, though. Time will tell. More you win, the more the value will come for your team, though. That's the biggest common denominator with these things to me. What's your other topic, Flo?
Another topic that I wanted to mention, gentlemen. LA, you actually mentioned a player specifically, but I want to connect that player with a team. The Sacramento Kings are looking to trade up in the draft. Currently, they hold the 5th pick and the 10th pick in the 2017 NBA draft. That will be sometime in June. And I'll apologize, gentlemen. I don't have the date. I know LA, I know you have the date, but I don't have the date in front of me, so I apologize for that. The thing with Sacramento, there's some rumors circulating that they're gonna probably draft De'Aaron Fox at 5th, but maybe they're trying to draw up some interest in terms of trying to, get some trade offers. The reason why they want to trade the 10th pick is because they're definitely in love with one of your favorite players, LA, in college basketball, Jonathan Isaac, small forward for for Florida State Seminoles.
Leave that guy alone, man. That's a Nick right there. Leave him alone.
So, right now, like I said, the Kings are definitely in love with him. So they're willing to move out of 10th and move up. But the thing is, they're asking for a lot in return. For example, if Phil wanted to move Noah, you would have to give up probably the pick in Noah, probably to drop down to 10th. As the Kings move up from 10th to 8th.
Would you do that though? Just not to interrupt you, but would you do that if you're the Knicks? Just thinking about it offhand.
Ooh, it depends. It really depends.
I know how much you love Noah.
It's tough because it really depends on if the player the Knicks like, if they feel they can get him at 10th as opposed to 8th. I'm not sure because I'm looking at Dallas. They're drafting 9th. They might be going after the same player the Knicks like. So I don't know. It's a tough decision. Maybe in hindsight, I would say no. I wouldn't do it. Maybe I stay at 8th and probably draft. You have a selection of probably, let me correct that. You'll probably have a choice of probably Smith Jr. of North Carolina State, or Frank Nicolita that's playing in France right now. So Knicks have some options to choose from. Honestly, I know it's a little bit early. I know we have our NBA draft special coming up, but I'm going to give the edge to Frank Nicolita over Dennis Smith Jr.
Yeah, I saw a couple of clips of him. He's tall for a point guard, nice size, good wingspan. Okay jumper, not the greatest from what I see. But he's not really a pure point guard yet. He hasn't really done it that many years. I think he's like 18-2 as well. So and you have to worry about the competition a little bit. I mean, I know it's overseas, but really haven't seen him enough yet to feel that confident. When you have Smith, you also have a couple of players that may drop as well, too. So, what do you think about that, Danny D?
Yeah, it's a gamble. I don't know if it's a gamble that the Knicks want to take, but giving up, no, what else can you lose? If they're going to take that in the contract, too. So we have to double take and see. Really, it's a dependent. That's why you have to get to the board and have the team, Phil. You got to get together and really think on these decisions and the pros and the cons.
Yeah, but 10th is a kind of a big drop in this draft to me. Because I don't think it's like 11 or 12. I mean, it's always going to be some good players that you're not really thinking about. But just off the top, I think 11, 12 really is your lottery right there. After that, you reaching with some people. So I would want to do that right now. I'd like to kind of stay where I'm at. Maybe if I could move up, actually. I give him Noah to move up somewhere. Somebody let me. But I don't think that's going to happen, But what you doing? Anything else you want to add to that, Flo?
Well, actually, I got a question since you mentioned about the Knicks moving up. I believe you mentioned it last week in episode 24 that the Knicks were trying to move up. They wanted to secure an extra pick. My question to you, LA, and to D, what type of players can they put out there on the trade market where they can convince a team to actually take their player back for an extra pick in the first round? That's my question to both of you guys.
It's tough. Oh, the draft also is June 22nd, just for record-wise.
Thank you, LA.
No problem. That's the tough thing. The Knicks got a couple of players, but a lot of them are not under contract. You have to do maybe a sign and trade if you want to do that for Derrick Rose or somebody like that. But main person you really could trade is like Hernan Gomez. That's the name I keep hearing that actually has some people out there looking at that actually move up a couple of spots. But the thing is, he's a young player too. Do you really want to take that chance with a young big who actually has, a lot of gifts? He's very athletic, very good offensive wise. Just his defense is not very good at all. He also needs to gain weight at that position a little bit to me. But I don't really know of a players offhand that the Knicks really have that other than Melo. But we all know how that go. We've been around that ring around the rosy. He still controls it, has a no trade clause, so I'm not really counting that right now. But what you think about that, Danny D?
The same thing. It's only Hernan Gomez. But the thing is, you can't teach height. You're going to give somebody away that's so young and still talented. And and if somebody wants him because he's valuable, that's why they want him.
True, and that's one that may come back to bite you. You could look back years later and be like, wow, we gave this guy away. He's still in a cheap contract, too. So that's the thing.
And then what we get, though, because they wouldn't be in the top 10. We trade somebody, they wouldn't give us in the top 10. What, we're going to get the 16th pick, 17th pick now?
Yeah, it's not worth it to me to do that. Unless you had somebody you really wanted, as you were saying before, Flo, somebody really target you think is going to be a great player, and you could move up to like maybe 4th or 5th. But I don't think you're moving that high. I don't think. At least I don't see it right now. What you think about it, Flo?
In all actuality, I mean, yeah, I think Hernan Gomez is probably the only valuable trade piece that they have. Another player that is very valuable as a trade asset is Porzingis. And LA, I think I mentioned this before. I think I mentioned this to you last week. The Sixers love Porzingis, but they were real hesitant to draft him because he didn't work out for them, and he already told them that he wasn't interested in playing for them. That's how they end up drafting Okafor. So I don't even know, really, in all actuality, if Phil is seriously considering moving Porzingis unless he feels that Porzingis will walk as a free agent in a couple of years.
Phil need to make that walk, not Porzingis, man. I don't want that. And I don't know what you're going to get from Philly. Unless you're going to get Joel Embiid.
No, I'm hearing either Simmons, Robert Covington, Dario Saric, and their draft pick. That's what I'm hearing.
That's a lot for him, though. I remember the deal now that you mentioned it. I think we still have to see what Simmons really looks like health-wise before I make that type of deal. To me personally, I wouldn't make that deal right away. Because, Porzingis, he can play in New York. That's a big thing, too. A lot of people forget that. Everybody can't play in New York, man. It's a lot of pressure over here. A lot of pressure. What do you think about that deal, Danny D?
Yeah, that's a lot, though. There's a lot of pressure, but that is a lot, though. I ain't with that one.
There's some good chips, but right now I'm not going to trade for a guy we haven't seen say 1 minute on the NBA court. As much as I do like Simmons, I think he's going to be a really good player, though. I really do. But if he's somewhat healthy, we could get that deal done, then I have to see what he looks like before I think about that, to be honest with you right now. Because the Knicks can't afford to lose a player like Porzingis and just have what they have now. It'd be anarchy, man, right now. Anything else you add with that, Flo?
The only thing I'll say is I'm not interested in moving Porzingis. I think Hernan Gomez, I'll definitely consider moving him. Also, Lance Thomas, I'll definitely consider moving if it's possible. I'd love to keep Kyle O'Quinn and Porzingis together. I like both gentlemen a lot. Yeah, that's about it. Oh, Courtney Lee also. Maybe I can move Courtney Lee for a second-round pick, You
always trying to get rid of my man Courtney Lee, man. That's your two dudes, Courtney Lee and Noah. Guys, don't buy a house out here, man.
Because Flo is in your packing.
The biggest problem I have, LA? It's not like I can't stand both players. It's the fact of the matter is, once again, Phil Jackson overpaid for these players. Again, he was trying to hit a home run, and again, he overpaid for these players. Both of these players they're not worth max money. You look at Joakim Noah, he's making max money, $72 million, 4 years. That's a lot of money for a guy, like I said, who's recuperating from a shoulder surgery the year before, his last season with the Bulls, when he only played 31 games. That's what the problem is. As for Courtney Lee, 4 years, $50 million is still a lot of money for Courtney Lee. A lot of money, especially to me, in my opinion, a sixth man off the bench or a backup two guard. He's not a starting two guard in this league. I mean, when you have a guy like J.J. Redick starting, then of course, then you could start, then you look in the mirror and say, you know what, if J.J. Redick could start in this league, then Courtney Lee deserves to start in this league. But that's where the problem is with these teams. They plug players in starting lineup that don't deserve to start. Courtney Lee is not an NBA starter. He's an NBA six man. He's a 3-and-D type of player. He'll knock down a three-point shot. He'll play some good defense. He'll be aggressive. Problem is he's not that consistent offensively as he should be. He'll have the type of games where he'll drop 25, but then the next game he'll give you 8 points. That's a problem. Definitely, it's a big problem. That's where my issue I have with these two players. I can't criticize these players for signing contracts. They found a sucker in Phil Jackson, offer them all this money, so they're going to sign. My problem is they're not worth the money. And this is what's hurting the Knicks, where they should be freeing up more money in their salary cap, and they're not. Once Rose is out once he's off the books on July 1st, the Knicks going to have at least $19 million to spend. Also, keep in mind, they got to re-sign Justin Holiday, who's going to be a free agent on July 1st. So this is where Phil Jackson made two poor decisions last July when he overpaid for these two players. There was no competition to sign both of these players in free agency. So what was the rush in trying to give these guys all this money? Like I said before, LA, and I've mentioned it before in previous podcasts, all you had to do is give Noah a 1 year prove it deal. If he's healthy, you just give him another 2 or 3 year deal. If not, let him walk. As you can see, LA, once again, Noah's going to miss the first 15 games of the season next year because of his suspension. So, for performance-enhancing drugs. So this is what's really hurt the Knicks, and definitely Phil Jackson has done a horrible job. This is the reason why I call him the $60 million intern.
Oh, you painted the picture well, man. Definitely did. These deals always come back to bite you. The thing is with Courtney Lee is that I totally agree with you with that. I think he's more of a 6-man type. He can be a starting 2 guard, but it's not for this type of team. It's for a team that's already built like a Cleveland Cavaliers or, those type of teams. But he could just put in that last spot. He can do well with that. But the Noah deal definitely hurt us. We went down that road numerous times. So, but it's how it was. A lot of players was getting overpaid during that. The cap went up. It's going to go up again. The same reason why Al Horford got so much money as well. A lot of these players are not really worth what they're getting, but it's not really what's worth is what the market shows you. And like you said, Phil bid against himself. And that's the thing you really can't do in this league. You have to try to make moves when you can and try to save where you can. Because now it limits what you can do this offseason. That's the tough part. Because maybe you could get a holiday if you had an extra 10, 15 million easy and not have to finagle so many things and maybe make another move to make that type of deal happen. But, definitely something we're going to look at. We're going to have a, free agency review as well on the podcast, too. How about you, Dan D? What you got? You have anything else for the NBA sport news or in general? Thank you, Flau.
In general, my NBA sport news is your boy Enes Kanter. I don't know if you guys heard about this guy in recent news.
No.
Right? Oh, recent news. Let me tell you about your boy Enes Kanter. Last week, Enes Kanter was in Romania. And he was in Romania, and his passport got revoked from Turkey. So basically, he got stuck. And the U.S. had to go get him out of Romania to bring him back to the States. Now, this week coming up, Turkey has put a warrant against his arrest for Enes Kanter. And the problem comes from Enes Kanter has very stiff political views against the president in Turkey. And also, they're saying that he's basically a terrorist. And they're saying he's down with a terrorist organization because he promotes this terrorist guy named Gulen. I don't want to mess his last name up, and I don't want the FBI looking for me. So basically what they're saying that this guy has been exiled from Turkey for the last 15 years, and they're saying that he's a part of their terrorist group. So now they're saying that he's been doing encrypted messages on some, it's like a WhatsApp type of thing. And they're saying that he's down with them and he's doing these terrorist views, and they have an arrest for your boy Enes Kanter. And Enes Kanter no longer has a passport, and he only has a U.S. valid green card. And the Turkish government wants to expedite him against that, saying that he is a terrorist fugitive right now. So they consider him an international fugitive. And Enes Kanter is basically saying, I have a green card, and he said, catch me if you can, type of thing. I know he better not use it. I bet he better not leave the States. I know that. So wow. He can go. So right now on he doesn't have a visa. He green card. So he can go to North America, and also he can go to Canada to play. But outside the U.S., he has to find a hometown now. So basically, he has to find a passport or actually become a U.S. citizen or another citizen of a different country right now.
Wow, that's something else. Hope that ain't no fake news right there, man.
Yeah, real news. We can look at that right now. It's gonna be real news when he leaves the States and try to go to another country and get arrested again.
That's crazy though. This is the time we live in right now. We could take this a whole nother direction with this podcast real quick. What did you think about it overall, Flo? Starting with you. Thank you, Danny D.
Well, honestly, LA, I think in this Canton to stay in the USA. Do not leave the United States of America. Stay in the United States. Stay in OKC. Build a nice home hopefully with a basketball court inside and a jacuzzi, et cetera, et cetera. Don't try to leave the United States and try to go back to Turkey. It's not worth it. I even heard some rumors where some people are, want to kill him if he goes back to Turkey. I'm hearing some rumors about that. So if he's a smart guy, he should just stay in the U.S. Don't bother going back home. Don't bother going to Romania either. Stay in the U.S. And number two, if Enes Kanter is really a terrorist, why would the NBA allow him to play basketball?
I know, right? You would think something would have came out before now, especially on this stage. But
exactly.
I don't get it. I don't get that part of it. But, in this day's and age, they're watching everything and everybody right now. That's the political climate we're living in. And we had this happen before with a certain topic. We had players that had struggled during the first ban they had, the Muslim ban and everything of that nature. We reported that before about players not being able to come back from going overseas and things of that nature. And Danny D, I think, spoke about that previously. It's just crazy time right now. Go ahead, D.
Not to cut you guys off, but the problem is too is that the guy that is Gulen, the Gulen guy that Eric Cantor is supporting, tried to do a coup. They tried to get rid of the president last year in 2016. They tried to overthrow the government. And the government's saying like, yo, Enes Kanter, you down with these guys. You know what I'm saying? They try to overthrow us. You rocking with them. Y'all sending messages together. So you support them. You down with the cause.
That's true.
That's true. And also another big reason too that I'm eyes on Enes Kanter because his family still lives in Turkey. You live in the U.S. Your family, your pops still live. They still live out there. So 2 years ago, he hasn't talked to his family in 2 years. The father had to go on like national TV and be like, "Yo, we disowned him." Now, of course, he's gonna say he disowned you because he still lives in Turkey.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? You living your life in the U.S. and you saying crazy thing about the government. I still live here, fam.
That's crazy. That's crazy. Nothing else I can say with that, but I just agree with you, Flo. Stay where you at, man. And, let your legal team handle it at this time. Because once you come, you don't want to get stuck out there at this point. You have way too much money. Let your legal team work for you in that way. But, definitely something I haven't heard of before, But thank you, Danny D. And I had something a little different, but a lot different, not in that caliber. Just something I thought it was interesting, and regarding the Raptors, and I had sort of received a 2018 second round pick for executive Jeff Weltman, and I just wonder if y'all heard about that. I'm not used to hearing like a pick being dealt for like he took over, I believe, as I think he's like the new team president, I believe, and just seeing the second round pick is not a huge deal overall, but just that for a team president, I mean that team's still gonna be bad during that time. So I'm just thinking about what y'all think about that overall, a deal like that happening. Starting with you, Flo.
I'm not gonna lie. I actually did heard something about that. Also, I want to add into that statement that the Toronto Raptors and Orlando Magic are not allowed to trade with each other for a year.
And what is that reason for?
The reason why is with this deal and also with the Serge Ibaka deal, so the league has told them no, they're not allowed to trade with each other for a year.
So basically trying to save them for themselves.
Well, with Orlando, I mean, I don't know if this is a great deal for them. My understanding, LA, I believe they signed John Hammond, who used to be with the Milwaukee Bucks, as the team president now for Orlando Magics. So I guess Orlando is trying to develop some, a youth movement with these gentlemen where hopefully these guys can take a look at the roster, review it, make decisions. Maybe they can try to convince free agents to come to Orlando, which might be difficult. So they might have to sell them on the arena itself and probably the no state income tax So Orlando has a lot of work to do. Definitely have a lot of work to do. So I don't know if this is a good deal for them or a bad deal. It's just one of those deals when I heard it, I was like, whatever.
That's what I thought too. It's just shocking for an executive type of thing. What you think about it? Anything about that, Danny D?
Because you basically saying with the trade with the individual, though, right?
Yeah, because you're basically trading a Zach for a pick. But
because I think didn't the Clippers and the Celtics do that with Doc? But it was like a coach trade.
Exactly. But at least you was getting with that. And I think they gave like a first rounder for that one though.
Yeah, something like that, like a first round pick, something crazy like that. Yeah,
but it's a weaker deal. It just made me think maybe the Knicks need to do some of that down the road. I'll gladly trade Rambus or somebody for a pick or something. We could make that happen, man, somewhere. We got a defensive guru over here. Get out of here.
That's great. And so the Magic trying to do the thing, which is so funny because did you hear the quote that Kevin Durant said?
No, what he said?
Oh, Kevin Durant, they're basically quoting because they was talking about, yo, don't you think you're in the juggernaut and stuff like that? I don't know the exact quote, but he was saying like they said that the teams are so heavy loaded because the favorite team is with you. He's like, is it my fault that the Orlando Magic haven't made the playoffs in 4 or 5 years? Or it's my fault that the Brooklyn Nets gave up all their picks? It ain't my fault.
Wow,
it's not my fault. I'm just here to play ball. I got nothing to do with that.
What happened to that real MVP Durant, man? I miss that guy, yo, who was weeping at the podium. I don't know. This guy's like the pressure getting to him. He didn't even start the finals yet. He coming out there talking, don't watch the finals if you don't want to. They try to backtrack Michael Jackson moonwalking on that. Well, I didn't really mean in that way, it's like there's other things on, the type of thing. I was like, come on, man. You know what you meant. Stop it. Same thing I heard with LeBron talking about, or it's like, I watched Michael, I had the same underwear type of thing and a bandage on my arm. This is shadow chasing me. Get out of here. Now you trying to moonwalk from that too? Come on, man. We know what you meant. Why you keep bringing them up, Mike, man? If that's not how you felt, nobody else was talking about you and Mike no more right now. Wait till the finals over, then you can talk about that. But that's neither here nor there. You don't want to go down that road. But anything else y'all want to talk about NBA news-wise? If it is, just let me know. You could jump in right now.
LA, I just want to add into what D mentioned. If I recall correctly, the Brooklyn Nets, demanded a draft pick to allow Jason Kidd to leave their head coaching position to take the head coaching position with the Milwaukee Bucks. And I believe the Milwaukee Bucks gave them a second-round draft pick.
Yes, sir. I remember that. That was a good deal, though. He ran after that, though, because he actually got controlling interest with that team, too.
That's right. That's right. Smart man. He knew exactly what he's doing. Smart man.
But it was dirty. It wasn't right after they just did put his jersey in the rafters too. So Kid.
Yeah, they still had to do it. Yeah, they still had to do it too. He's like, gotta go.
Right before that or right after that, one of those two things. That's crazy, man.
Well, LA. Remember, he went to the owner, Mikhail Provorov, and gave him an ultimatum: either I go or Billy King goes.
Yeah, that's true. I remember that. That should have been no type of battle with that one. But then I know why, too. But you also had the kid thing with the driving under influence. He had a guy wrecked. He had a lot of off-the-court things that made you worry about giving that type of power, especially in New York. So I kind of understood that, too. That's part of it that plays into it. So, But, yeah, go ahead, bro.
To add on to that, I agree with you with the driving under influence. But keep in mind, LA, it's final season. His final NBA season was with the Knicks. Keep in mind, during that time, the Knicks got criticized for signing Jason Kidd because he was arrested for driving under influence. And he was a model citizen. Not only was he a model citizen, he was like he was the leader in the locker room and like a de facto coach, per se, assistant coach. Melo has a lot of respect for him. That's why I hear a lot of rumors are circulating that Melo could only play with a point guard that he respects, a.k.a. Chauncey Big Shot Billups, a.k.a. Jason Kidd, et cetera, et cetera. So we'll see, man. We'll see, what's going to take place with the NBA draft in terms of who the Knicks, if they're going to draft a point guard or if they decide to sign a veteran point guard via free agency or trade for a veteran point guard, a.k.a. Ricky Rubio.
No, I heard that before, too, and I definitely agree with that. Because, that's what you said. But the thing with Melo, the ball usually stops because he doesn't respect the point guard we have a lot of times, and the point guard's not really controlling the offense like it should be, which is why he plays really well in during the Olympics, because they have some of the best point guards there too as well. But that's something to think about. That's the big reason they wanted the CP3 deal to come over there before. That's the deal they were trying to make with him, LeBron type of thing before that. That was supposed to be the big three originally. So, that's the thing we never really got to see other than Kid. That's the last time they went to the playoffs, I believe, too. So that's something to think about. But just think about that CP3. I saw just before we end the show, they was talking about a deal for $200 million. It's in the air going back to the Clippers, and will he give up that type of money to take a chance with the Spurs? The Spurs are trying to get him too, but they may have to gut their team to do it. Do you think that's even worth for the Spurs to do that? Just like briefly, what y'all think about that, or you just see him going back to the Clippers? I mean, we'll go into more detail with that down the road, but that was a recent report. Anything you want to add to that, Danny D?
Yeah, so brushed on a little bit. Yeah, it depends. That's a lot of money to give up. A lot of money, but like you said, you bet on yourself. If you in your heart, you know that you can make this team better, and you know what the name of the game is. The name of the game is to win championships. Do you think you're gonna win in the Clippers uniform and just be happy with the $200 million, or do you think that you can get together and rally these guys with you, Karad, LaMarcus Aldridge, and Paul Gasol, and I think y'all can get over that hump and beat Golden State and try to make it to the championship and win that chip? It's a hard decision. That's a real hard decision. And how much, in money-wise, and how much the Spurs are going to give me also, and how much they're going to gut that team to make that team still be a contender in the West.
Yeah, that's the big thing, too. Because at least with the Clippers, if you do the sign back, you could do the Larry Bird rule and go over the cap with that team. So that's a big thing why you may want to stay, too. Anything else with that flow real quick before we sign off?
Yeah, I think I remember reading something about that. The thing is, like you mentioned before, I think it's going to be difficult for the Spurs to really try to sign Chris Paul. They would have to, allow certain players to walk. For example, Patty Mills, that's 1. 2, I think they would have to convince Paul Gasol to opt out. And I don't see Paul Gasol doing that because the option from the opt-in is a lot of money. I don't think you can get that type of money in the open market come July 1st. So I think Gasol resigns. I think the only way they can get that deal done with CP3, they would have to move LaMarcus Aldridge in a trade.
Yeah, that kind of defeats the whole purpose of doing it at that point. Because even with just CP3 and Kawhi, I don't think that's enough to win. Nah. Not in the West, I don't.
No. Yeah. And LA, I mean, if he stays with the Clippers, and we're referring to Chris Paul, he's going to get all the money he wants from them. Plus, keep in mind, LA is a beautiful media market. So, he enjoys doing those State Farm commercials with DeAndre Jordan. So
that's true. Definitely true. But, thank you, fellas. This was a real jam-packed, episode. I hope the listeners out there really enjoyed it. Any closing remarks for you, Danny D?
So thank you, guys. I thank all the listeners. Keep on subscribing. Keep on showing the love, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Danny D. Definitely. How about you, Flo? Any last remarks?
LA, I want to thank all the listeners. Please continue to tell a friend and subscribe. Also, I want to thank both of you gentlemen for allowing me to be part of this great show, Knicksfandom, which is, again, #1 podcast for Knicks fans and for NBA fans all over the world. Also, I want to tell all the listeners, enjoy Memorial Day weekend. And definitely. LA, I don't know if you mentioned this before, but I want to thank all the listeners that have been supporting this show. LA, I think you mentioned this to me. I don't know if any of the listeners are aware of this, but we are right now in the top 10 in podcasts, according to Spreaker.com. We surpassed Rod Strickland's podcast. So I want to thank all the listeners that has joined this podcast as a dedicated and loyal listener since day one, episode 1. So definitely, I want to thank the listeners, and hopefully you guys can continue to push us, motivate us, and hopefully you guys continue to tell a friend, and also continue to allow us to hopefully move up in the ranking from going from number 10. Hopefully we get up to the top 5, and hopefully you continue to listen to us also, on iTunes. That would be nice also, So once again, thank you to all the listeners. Please continue to subscribe, tell a friend. I appreciate everything you guys have done for us, and enjoy the Memorial Day weekend.
Very true. Thank you, Flo. That's true. We definitely moved to top 10 in the basketball sports category on the Spreaker, so we really appreciate our listeners, as always. And definitely enjoy your Memorial Holiday weekend. Be safe out there, people. Keep listening. Keep telling your friends about it. Hope you keep enjoying the show. Subscribe, share, and leave a review on iTunes. It definitely helps us move up the charts. Going to keep bringing you more NBA news, more Knick news. Stay tuned. Make it a good one, people. See ya.